Hello, Sobe Pontefraid. Can I take your order, please?
Welcome to the Gibbons Talks Boxing YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you have not done so already. I'm delighted to be joined today by Jade Gitchhamm. I first became aware of Jade when I was doing a bit of research for the Welsh Amateur Boxing Finals in 2018, which I commentated on. And Jade stood out because she had a really interesting interview at the end of the fight. I think it was the first post-fight interview I've ever done where Jade was, I think you said something like, you're going to do more sprinting and eating less pizza or something along those lines.
Yeah, I said, I'm going to eat less pizza and run up hills.
Right, okay. I did actually mean to check what exactly you said, because the fights are still available online on the Welsh ABA Boxing YouTube channel. But because we started this interview a little bit early, I didn't have a chance to check exactly what you said. But I knew it was something to do with sprinting or running and pizza. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a bit. So Jade, just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started boxing.
Yeah, so basically I'm 28 at the moment, nearly 29, so I'm getting on for boxing a bit really, but I only started boxing 5 years ago. I was 24. I was running around the garden after my daughter. She was 1 at the time and I was out of breath and I thought, right, Christ, I need to sort it out. So I went to a boxercise class, a local boxercise class. Met the coach there, who's actually one of my best friends now, but I was there 2 weeks and she said, oh, you can punch, you should fight. So I thought, oh, bugger it, because I was always a bit of a scrapper in school. I was a bit of an header, but so I thought, yeah, I'd love to, I'd give it a go. A week after that, she had me a white collar fight. So I had 3 weeks training, boxercising. My friend Crystal Evans, who was an amateur boxer years ago, she trained me for the white collar, but only 2 weeks training. And I had a draw on the white collar then, so it wasn't quite the win, but and then I was just addicted. So I joined the Arden Spartans in Port Talbot, again, through my friend who was the boxercise coach. She took me there. And I went from there then, and then I fought in the Welsh then against Chloe Thomas in 2017 after only boxing for 4 months. Didn't get the win, but it was a good fight, and it was only my 4th fight. What happened next? And then I won the Welsh the year after, the year you commentated, against Rachel Banks, who's actually one of my good friends. And I won the Welsh in 2019 as well, before COVID, against Tamlin Williams. And I went to the British with the Welsh that year as well, and I got the bronze, didn't get the win. I fought Raven Chapman. And now I'm actually really good friends with Raven as well. So, but yeah, so it's all gone from there really.
So is there any history of boxing in your family? Like any, your father or any of your brothers or?
Well, my grandfather was a boxer apparently, but he died when my mother was young. So my mother's 60 now, so I never met him. But apparently he was a boxer, which I didn't know until last year. So there's a bit of it in the family, yeah.
And were your family and friends surprised when you announced one day that you were going to give boxing a go? Or were they?
Not really, no. Because the fact when I was a teenager, I was a bugger, let's put it that way, I was a tearaway. So I used to hang around with all the boys and I used to go fighting in Neath and I used to wear a hoodie and put my hood up and pretend I was a boy and go fighting with all the boys. So it wasn't a shock, no, because I used to be such a scrapper when I was in school.
And I believe you played rugby as well, am I right in saying?
Yeah, played bits of rugby, nothing to a high level or anything. Again, I just heard there was a local women's team in Carmarthen being set up. And I just thought I'd give it a go because I love anything physical. I tried football for a while as well, but I wasn't good at football. I kept getting sent off.
I can imagine, based on what you've said already, I can imagine you having a few red cards.
Yeah, so I switched to rugby then. It was more my thing.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So what was it like for someone who's never boxed before? Well, actually, have you done any other combat sports like karate, judo, or anything like that?
No, nothing at all. As I said, when I was a teenager, I just used to drink and smoke and have the odd fight in the fair. But no sports, nothing up until then.
So what was your first experience of boxing like in the gym, sparring, pads, on the bags? What was that like for you?
Really good. Obviously nerve-wracking. I'm a bit of a perfectionist and I get anxiety, so I'm quite hard on myself. So, and I'm really competitive. So I wanted to be like amazing straight away. I wanted to be getting all the combinations, doing everything straight away. So I'd get frustrated with myself. And obviously as a novice, my chin was in the air. I was closing my eyes as I was throwing a jab. And it was like, yeah, so I used to get really frustrated at times, to be honest. But the gym was really, really welcoming in the Spartans. I had a really good relationship with the coach, Ian Jenkins. He was brilliant. Yeah, so it was a good experience. All the boys really welcomed me. It was really good, yeah.
And were you the first female boxer in Avon Spartans, or are there any other female boxers prior to you?
No, there was the other coach, Neil Jenkins, his ex-girlfriend, Amy Williams, had won the Welsh the year previous to me. And Amy took me under her wing as well. She was great. So, yeah, I think, and there was another girl, Cheyenne. She was youth. So, yeah, it was welcoming for women, you know, it was great. There was some girls there.
So you pretty much just fitted in as part of the team straight away, really? There was no real, oh, this is a woman boxer or a male boxer. It was just, this is just another boxer. Luckily,
it was one of those, you know, everyone was really open-minded, and I did just fit in straight away. Like I'd always been there, like family straight away. It was really good.
So what were the most difficult things about boxing when you first started? I mean, you mentioned you had a few scraps in your younger days. I mean, was getting punched in the face something that was you were familiar with already, or was it different?
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't mind that part at all. So yeah, that bit was fine. It was just the fitness side of things that I struggled with, because obviously growing up being a heavy smoker and partying a lot before I had my daughter. So I found that side of things the hardest, to be honest. I struggled a lot with my fitness, and even when I fought in the Welsh and stuff like that, I never felt like my fitness was there. So as you probably remember, I don't know if you remember the fight in the Welsh in 2018, I just got knackered after like a minute, and I was just throwing windmills. I know, and that's down to fitness, you know. So that was the most difficult part for me, definitely.
And I presume as well, you sparred with all the male boxers, the boys in the gym?
Yeah, always sparring with the boys. Stacey Pearson, I always used to give him black eyes, which I was chuffed about. But yeah, always sparring the boys. Another one of the boys in the gym, Rhys Devonald. Oh, I used to throw tantrums sparring him because he was so awkward and things like that. But it brought me on, definitely. It was really good. I enjoyed it.
And how many contests did you have before you went to the Welsh Championships?
Oh, before I fought in the Welsh, I had 2 contests and an exhibition.
Right, and so before these contests, I mean, were you nervous, or did you take like a duck to water, or?
Not really nervous, and that's one thing I still struggle with. My nerves, like I'd been sick, crying, and not because I'm going to go and get punched in the face, like that part I didn't mind. I was worried, I get nervous about my performance and looking not like I'm, you know, like I look in the gym and things like that, and I worry about cocking up basically about myself. So there's been moments I'm crying, I'm shaking, putting my boots on. In the changing rooms for the Welsh, I'd be like being sick in the bin, and Neil and Ian would be like, get outside. So I'd be like that. And before the Welsh in 2019, I was sick so much before the fight. I was knackered going on, but so my nerves have been a big factor. But the first fight I had, I was really nervous, crying, everything, and I stopped the girl in 55 seconds of the first round. So I didn't need to be nervous at all. I left my heels on.
So the anticipation, by the sounds of it, is actually worse than the actual boxing. I mean, how close have you been to just running out the fire escape of a venue thinking, I can get away, I can just run away and not box?
I've been pretty close. When I fought Raven Chapman in the British, I remember waiting for the draw, see who I had, Scotland or England. And I'd followed Raven on Instagram for like a couple of years before that. So I was familiar with her boxing. I was a fan, really. I thought she was absolutely class. So I drew Raven. I just started crying. I rang Neil. I was like, I can't do it. I can't cry in my eyes. I was shaking. Before going on, actually walking to the ring, I was crying. And Mike on the Welsh squad was like, do you want to do this? Or should I pull it? And I was just crying. I was like, no, I'm going to do it. And even after the first round, I came back to the corner, wiped the sheet, crying again. And he was like, do you want me to throw a towel in? And I was like, no. I went back out. But that's the thing, I'll do it no matter how scared I am, no matter how much I cry, I'll still go ahead with it.
So what are you doing at the moment then, or how have you done to try and conquer your nerves, if that's the correct way of putting it? Because most boxers, they're absolutely, they're nervous and anxious before the fight, but after the first bell goes, they settle down straight away. But you were actually the first boxer ever, I think, who's told me that their nerves continues into the fight, which is a bit
But that
surprising.
was the one except only with Raven that's happened.
Is that because you'd followed her career and you knew a lot about her?
Yes, definitely. And shit like a train. And I usually don't mind, but I was shell-shocked. I was like, oh my God. But yeah, so that's only happened to Raven, to be fair. Other times, yeah, I've settled into it. But to counter it, I practice mindfulness. I'm into like, have you heard of like the law of attraction and all of that? The secret?
No, I don't think so, no.
Right, I'm big into like, it's called the law of attraction. Basically what you put out with your mind, you bring back to you. So you put out positive thoughts, you bring back positivity and vice versa. But I meditate, I do yoga, I collect crystals and all of that stuff. I got some there. I always keep some on my desk.
The relaxation crystals, are they?
Yeah, so the different crystals are supposed to like give different energy out, and yeah, so I'm into all that. Mindfulness.
Yeah, well, whatever works for you, really, isn't it? I mean, as long as it works for you, it's
it does work for me, but then the nerves still creep through, I'll be honest. But I'm interested to see what I'll be like when I compete next, because it's been a while now. See if I'm able to calm the nerves better, because I've been doing a lot of mindfulness since my last competition. So
when you spar, do you feel any nerves when you spar?
A little bit, yeah. So I always get like the butterflies in my, but then I'm all right then. It's nothing like when I fight, just a little bit.
And is it mainly when you're fighting somebody you're not familiar with, or maybe someone like the girl you mentioned,
like Raven,
with a big reputation?
Yeah, we've me and Raven have stayed in touch. She's been Terry Harper's sparring partner.
Oh, right. Well, she must
most
be good
recently. Oh, she's very, very good. She was on the GB squad for years, competed at the highest level, amateur. Yeah, so she's been Terry's sparring partner recently, and she's gone pro herself now with Steffi Bull.
Yeah.
So she'll be having her pro debut in July, but I get that when I spar Raven, my nerves go then. Even though we're good friends now still, I still say to her, oh Christ, every time.
You mentioned you're a bit of a perfectionist and you try and just get everything right, and perhaps you get a bit frustrated if things don't go exactly as you want them to go. Are there any boxers you base your style around, or when you see a certain boxer doing a certain thing on TV, you try and do that? I mean, any idols you look up to?
Yeah, well, Clarissa Shields, absolutely love her, and I feel well, when my head's switched on, I try and box a similar style as Clarissa, because I can be quite flat-footed, and so Clarissa Shields, and she's quite just tough and forward, and I'm like that as well. Who else? Who do I admire? Rosie Eccles. I think she's class. She's doing really well recently. I don't know Rosie personally. I remember meeting her in my first white collar. She probably won't remember this, but she just came down to see the boxers off. Like, there's a white collar event. It was in her hometown nearby, and I remember meeting her that night. But I've admired her work since.
Yeah, so I think I commented on Rosie's when she won the Welsh finals. I think the first senior Welsh final, 2015, I think it was.
Oh, class!
But that was actually. I'll tell you something. I've never told this to anyone.
Yeah.
Should I tell her? I don't know if I should tell this actually. Well, I will tell it.
But
because Rosie was fairly new to boxing, and she was obviously, because she won the championship, she was going to go forward then to boxing the British or whatever. Yeah. She didn't want her fight to be shown online, so she said, "Oh, do you mind not putting it online for a few weeks now, just because we can keep it under wraps type of thing, so people can't see my style." Yeah. So all the other fights that took place that night, initially it was on television, and then I uploaded it to my YouTube channel. But Rosie's fight, if you look, that's the only fight from the 2015 championships That's not online because she asked me not to put her on there for a few weeks.
I can see where she's coming from, definitely.
But now, as you mentioned, Rosie's boxing all over the world, representing Wales. So her and Lauren Price are probably two highest profile.
Lauren's another one. Yeah, but I really like Rosie's style, and I'm good friends with Helen Jones as well. She's
I know the name, yeah.
Yeah, she's on the Welsh squad. She's recently gone up to GB squad as well, and she's absolutely class. And she's her partner is actually my new coach. Okay. So I've done a lot of sparring with Helen and things like that. But she's absolutely amazing as well.
When you spar with women, is it different from when you spar with men, or is it just exactly the same?
No, it's a lot different. I find it easier. I feel I'm not so tired. I feel when I spar with the boys and the men heavier than me, I feel absolutely knackered more or less straight away. I feel like my legs are like cement. So when I'm sparring girls, then yeah, it's not that I spar much girls, to be honest. Like I said, I've sparred Helen, now and again. My friend Stephanie Evans, she's an MMA fighter. So mostly I spar the boys anyway, but I do find it a lot more tiring when I'm sparring the boys. Definitely a big difference.
And is it also a case that when you're sparring some of the girls, that in the back of your mind you might be thinking, I might actually be boxing you in a proper contest somewhere down the line, or does that not come into it?
Well, it's coming to it with my friend Rachel Banks. So she's in the Hornet. She's the one I beat in 2018 in the Welsh. And the story behind that was I was going to enter in the 60 category, but there was no one in there. And I knew Rachel was entering in the 64, so I had a chat with my coach. And he said, oh, bugger it, we go up. So I rang Rachel and said, oh, what do you think about us fighting in the Welsh? And she said, yeah, go for it, because Rachel is like me, she's mad as a box of frogs. She don't mind. So that's how that came about. But when I've sparred Rachel, because we're good friends and we've had a couple of fights, it can be a bit,
I think people, maybe some of your friends who might watch this interview, who perhaps know you do a bit of boxing, but don't really understand boxing, they may be thinking now, you actually phone up your friend to ask your friend, do you fancy having a fight? or you could avoid fighting your friend, and you can still be Welsh champion. You've actually phoned up your friend to make sure you both have a fight, and only one of you can become Welsh champion then.
Exactly, and that's the thing with boxing. I'm sure everyone who boxers will agree. You have the most respect for your opponents, and I'm a hugger, I am. So I after the fight, I'll give them a big touch, even if they don't want to. I'm just, I know, and it sounds stupid, but I always try and be friendly before the fight as well. So the last girl I fought in 2019, she was coming from England, so she came into the changing rooms, and I made sure to shake her hand, and I was like, and when the ref brings us in to touch gloves, I was like smiling at her, which is stupid because I had a photo afterwards and it looked like I was being cocky. Like I was just like, but it's people who don't box don't understand. You have that respect for your opponent, and especially afterwards. And if anything, it brought me and Rachel closer together. So
you wouldn't be much good with the trash talking then if you ever were to go pro or anything by the sounds of it.
No, honestly, for people who used to know me, they'd be really shocked because I was a bit of an arsehole, to be honest, and I had a reputation for being, and now I've totally changed. I'm all zen and I'm like Buddy Gandhi, and I'm really totally different now. So people would be surprised who knew me before, who don't really knew Jade.
One thing about female boxing, which has been highlighted, I think, as it's come to the forefront over the last 12 months on the world scene, is this still there's not a massive amount of female boxers. Yeah. So you can have a few fights, like maybe half a dozen fights, and then you're already at championship level, whether it be at amateurs or pros, which is in a way it's a good thing, but on the other side it can be a down. It's got a downside in that it pushes you to the forefront. Because you can't, because if you were a male boxer, probably, I know some male boxers do have walkovers with a lack of competition, especially in the smaller weights, but probably if you were a male boxer, you probably have to have a dozen fights at least before you get the championship level, which means you can learn your trade quietly out the way, whereas 4 or 5 fights and you're straight in a championship level and all eyes are on you, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. So that's been challenging, to be honest, because like as you said, straight away I was fighting Chloe in the Welsh because there was no girls in Wales when I first started boxing. It was me, Chloe, Rachel, and Jess House, the girl I first beat in my first fight. So that was it, really. There was no girls in Wales, so it was either that or just carry on sparring the boys until I felt ready. And I thought, well, no, bugger it, I want to get the fights in.
And as well, when you fight on club shows, do you find that the female contests attract more attention than the male contest, just because it's something different?
Yes, definitely. There's a lot of attention on the women's fights and some comments thrown about and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely.
Do you feel that, just in your time in boxing, do you feel the women's boxing is getting more accepted in the 4 or 5 years you've been involved?
Yeah, definitely, especially now, really, even though it's a shame the pandemic has come in, because just before then it was booming, wasn't it, but it still is in the pro game. But I'm just hoping it'll start to rise in popularity in Wales, because there's no girls in Wales at the moment. I think there's me, as far as I know, me, Rachel and Chloe Perry, and that's the only girls I really know in Wales.
Lindsay Holloway, is she still boxing now, do you know?
Oh, I'm not sure. And obviously that was excluding like Rosie and Laura, because they're at that level, but club show level.
I suppose, and that's another thing as well, I suppose, because there's not a massive pool of female boxers. As soon as you get to a certain level, then you get taken off to the Welsh squad or the British squad, so you're taken out of the pool of local boxers.
Yeah, unless you're me, because the Welsh squad have pied me so far, but I can't blame them, because my chin was in the air, my technique wasn't great. So but I think they're gonna have a big shock when they see me fight next, because I've just come up in levels so much since changing clubs. Really, really come on loads. So they got to take notice of me now.
So who are you boxing with now, Jade?
At the moment now I'm with Jack to a King, Jason Hughes, in Forest Fach in Swansea.
And what are the things you were looking at adding to your game, or the areas you're looking at improving on?
So improving on my fluidity. So as I said, sometimes still now I can be quite flat-footed and just one-dimensional. So Jason's been doing a lot of work on me on my angles, my footwork, just being more fluid, my defense. Because whereas before, my hands were halfway down, my elbows were up, and I just, my technique wasn't great. Chin in the air. So I've changed a lot now. I'm a lot more compact. I'm actually moving like a boxer, whereas before I was just scrapping all the time.
You were going back to the fairground mode.
Yeah.
Thought you were scrapping next to the bumper cars.
Literally zero skill. I was just going in for the kill.
And what's your ambitions in boxing then, Jade? Where do you hope to be in, say, let's hope boxing gets back to normal soon. Where would you like to see yourself in the next couple of years?
The next couple of years, well, to be honest, my main goal is I want to go to the Commonwealth Games. So that's where I want to end up, really. So if I don't make it to the next games, I'll keep going to the next one. But so until the games, I just want to put myself on the map with the Welsh squad, hopefully get them to take notice and give me a chance. And yeah, the games, I want to go do as many tournaments and things like that as I can. Jason, that's one thing with the Spartans, they were great, but I didn't get a chance. They didn't take me anywhere. So Jason has said he'll take me wherever. So we booked the Riviera Box Cup in August. So
okay.
This will be my first contest. So just get as many things in like that as possible. I want to do Golden Girl, Haringey. So anything, any box cups that's going, I just want to get them in.
And I suppose for female boxers as well, if you want to get fights against a different variety of opponents, you've got to be willing to travel.
Yeah, exactly. And with that, the Riviera Box Cup is in Torquay. And when I was doing the application form, a novice senior was from 0 to 20 bouts, but I emailed and said, look, can I go in the opens? Because I won the Welsh, because I don't want to be fighting novices. I want to be fighting, the best
open class.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Commonwealth Games. Just remind us, when is the next Commonwealth Games and where is it taking place?
I think it's Birmingham 20. It was supposed to be 2022 in Birmingham, wasn't it?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I was trying to work it out in my head.
I should know. I think it was supposed to be Birmingham 2022, but I don't know if it's going to be pushed back a year because of obviously COVID and things like that. So I'll have to have a nose.
And what's the qualifying procedure for the Commonwealth Games? I know in the Olympics you've got to win certain tournaments. It's not a case of just being selected by your country for the Commonwealth.
To be honest, I'm not 100% sure with that either. And I'm under the impression, obviously, you have to win the Welsh, and then the Welsh select you then. So I'll have to look into that as well, kind of, to be honest.
And what weight category will you be hoping to? Hello.
She's joined us.
What's the name of the dog?
Poppy.
Poppy. Seems very pleased to be on camera, tails wagging.
She's lush. The weight category, I want to get down to 60 kilo.
Okay. And is that a weight you've boxed at in the past?
Yeah, I boxed at. But the first time I won the Welsh, I boxed at 64 because I went up. And then the second time I won the Welsh, I won at 57. But to be honest, that was too low for me. So 60 now. I boxed at 60 before, but not in the competition or like the Welsh or anything like that. So going forward, I think that's the weight I want to get down to. And
have you any ambitions of turning pro? Let's just say the dream scenario: you win, you medal in the Commonwealth Games, and a promoter comes knocking your door. Would you be tempted to go pro?
To be honest, I probably would be tempted, but I'm not sure yet because obviously I'm in uni at the moment studying social work. I'm in my second year. So I'm on placement. So I'm obviously I won't be on placement then, but I'll be a social worker then. So it's a demanding job. So we see, and I got a daughter as well. She's 6. So I'd have to feel right. I don't know unless it happened. To be honest, I don't know.
You mentioned your daughter there. What does she think of Mammy being a boxer?
To be honest, it's normal for her. It's all she's ever known. I started boxing. She was 1. I used to take her to the gym with me. So it's just normal for Scarlett. And every time I'd go out to fight, she'd bring me home a medal. So I'd bring her home my trophy and it'd be hers. When I've gone sparring with my friend Steph, she had to come with me once. I didn't have a babysitter. Maybe this would be frowned upon, I don't know, but she was fine. But she was giving us water in between rounds. So it's just normal for her. It's all she's ever known.
Yeah. So she probably thinks everyone's mammy's a boxer.
No, but I think she's realised they're not now. But I have told her, if you get bullied in school, you tell them your mammy's 2-time Welsh champion.
And Stephanie, you mentioned, Stephanie Evans, she's an MMA fighter, I'm right in saying?
She is, yeah. She's an MMA fighter. So we've had plenty of rounds. So when we're in preparation for Steph's fights, even if I haven't got a fight, we'll do loads of rounds and we'll do shoot boxing. So, and she can kick me, even though I don't really know how to kick, but I'll try and kick her back. But she'll kick me boxing and then she'll practice her takedowns. So then while we're boxing, she'll try and take me down and stuff in the cage. So we do that a lot.
Are you tempted to give MMA a go?
I have been tempted. A couple of times, to be honest, but I think switching sports now, I'm getting on for boxing and I start MMA now as well. And jiu-jitsu is too technical for me. It spins my head. I've tried it. So I got way too frustrated with jiu-jitsu, but no, I stick to boxing.
Okay. Have you any, well, I did ask you before we started, have you any sponsors? And you said you haven't because it's too much hassle, but going forward.
I was sponsored by Fireball Labs. They were great. They got me these shorts again. I know I got them for you. They paid for my boxing boots and
wow,
these
nice
shorts. Yeah, they're lovely. This is the logo. Oh, yeah. Fireball Labs. They wanted to call me the Jawbreaker because one of their pre-workouts was called Jawbreaker. So I was Jawbreaker Jade. But yeah, so I stopped that sponsoring. I just couldn't commit to the posting on Instagram all the time.
So would they expect so many posts a week or a month from you? Is that the way it works?
Yeah, there had to be, I can't remember how many now, but yeah, so many posts a month and stuff like that. And I just wasn't doing it, to be honest. So,
but looking towards the future, I mean, if you are going to be boxing in these different tournaments and hopefully get a shot to go to the Commonwealth Games, a sponsor probably would be helpful going forward.
Yeah, going forward, I'll have to think about that when it comes, and maybe get my coach Jason to help me, because I'm useless with all stuff like that. I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
And you mentioned the nickname there, Jawbreaker. I presume that's not your official nickname. So
no, I don't want to take that nickname officially. To be honest, I wasn't keen. I put on my shorts on the other side Gitch, because obviously Gitcham is right, but I give myself the nickname. It's a bit cheesy, the Gitchinator.
The Gitchinator. Brilliant.
So, but I don't want to be called that really in the fight either. But yeah, happy with Gitch.
Okay, and just finally, have you any idea when you might be boxing again? I know we're just coming out of lockdown now. That seems to be going on forever.
Oh, it's been a nightmare.
I mean, what's the information you're getting off Welsh Amateur Boxing Association, if anything? Nothing.
Nothing at the moment. Absolutely nothing. I know that the English have announced they're doing the national championships in December, so I'm hoping Wales will follow suit, to be honest. But I'm fighting in that Riviera Box Cup in Torquay, August the 14th, and I have thought about BKB.
Oh my God.
But that's just a thought at the moment, like, because they just started asking for women's applications. So I thought about it, maybe emailing the Welsh and saying, you know, would I be able to have a BKB fight and then come back? Because I'm not sure how that works.
I'm based on what I know already, I don't think the Welsh ABA would be very pleased with you doing that. But who knows? Perhaps
that's out the window then. It's not worth not being able to come back to that.
But perhaps you'll be the groundbreaker who'll break down these old rules that the Welsh ABA have, perhaps.
Well, you know, for a woman boxer, there's not much going on. I just need that something. I wouldn't want to do more than one fight, but I'd like to have the experience, you know. So who knows?
Yeah. And how can people follow your career, Jade? I know you're on Facebook, but are you on any other social media? You mentioned Instagram as well.
Yeah, I love Instagram. I am on Instagram. What's my Instagram? It's Gitcham Jade. So GITCHAM JAYDE. I have to think then, because I spelled it differently to my real name, so people from university can't find me. And now they will.
Well, they will now. Look at this interview. And I normally I put the Twitter and Instagram names underneath you as well, so they'll be there to see for everyone now.
It's all right. I'm a good girl now.
Okay, Jade, it's been really good to chat with you. We haven't mentioned the pizza, have we? The Pizzagate.
Yeah.
Pizzagate, yeah. So just talk us through that fight, winning the Welsh Championships in 2018.
That was it, yeah. To be honest, I've never had an interview like that, so it just caught me off guard. So obviously a normal person would have said, oh yeah, on to the British now, you know, onwards and upwards. How do I say, oh, so what's your plans? Stop eating pizza and to run up more hills. I remember you just stopped and looking at me. And I just walked off with my trophy.
That's right, yeah. Because I was a bit, normally boxers say, oh, they're looking forward to the next fight, they're going to train a bit harder, do more sparring. But, it was a good interview though. It was something different. It was the first fight of the night, so that fight, literally was available across the world on the internet. So.
Oh, do you know, I get embarrassed watching that fight though. Do you know, because my technique was so crap, to be honest, and I was just so. And I remember you're commentating. What did you say? Yeah, if Gitcham just slows down a bit now. But I stopped her in the third round, so you know, it paid off.
Were you conscious of the fact that it was getting televised live or online live when you boxed? Did that put extra pressure on you?
It did, yeah. It did. Like a lot of boxers obviously prefer the support and stuff, don't they? I don't like anyone coming to watch me.
Right.
I like, so the fact that it was televised as well, I don't like the pressure. If I could just box with no crowds, I'd prefer that.
Okay. Well, if you get as far as the Commonwealth Games, you might have to find a way of dealing with the fans. Because I'm sure you would have with your personality as well. You'd be you'd be a fan favorite for sure if you get to Birmingham, if it is 2022, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, I'm not stopping till I get there anyway. So if it's not the Birmingham one, I'll get there to the next one.
There we are. Okay, Jade. Well, it's been excellent to talk to you.
Thank you, Kyron. Thank you.
No problem. Good luck with your career. Hopefully, we'll hear about you in the 2022 Commonwealth Games.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we won't hear anything about you fighting at fairgrounds or anything like that, or fighting the Hut or something, probably. But,
I'm like a born again Christian now.
Well, okay, I'll take your word for that. But okay, Jade. Hopefully, I'll see you in person sometime in the future. Good luck with the boxing, and good luck with your career.
Thank you. I see you again.
Okay, cheers, Jade. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Hello, so we're Pontypridd. Can I take your order, please?